hands down one of the greatest video game developers of all time. Well, at least they used to be one of the biggest video game developers. Now they are relegated to little more than a small division over at Microsoft. Microsoft doesn't really utilize them in the same way that they used to be utilized by like Nintendo, or how Microsoft used to use them. I think that what made Rare so special in the first place was just the wide variety of genres that they covered. Like, there were 2D platformers, 3D platformers, first-person shooters, fire truck simulator thing. I think one of the games that best illustrates that is Snake, Rattle, and Roll for the NES. Snake, Rattle, and Roll came out in North America in 1990 on the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the following year in PAL regions, also on the NES. Eventually there was a Mega Drive version of the game that added in an extra level, but we're not going to be talking about that one right now. We're just sticking to the NES version. This is one of my favorite oddities of the NES library. It's just such a strange title. The best thing I could compare it to would be like Sonic 3D Blast, a game that's also at an isometric angle. But I think what makes this one stand out a lot more is the fact that, well, A, it doesn't suck ass, and B, it's really impressive, especially for the NES. The game itself has you playing as either Rattle or Roll, two snakes that you'll use to collect nibbly pibblies, and you'll be eating them with your elongated tongue, and you know, the more that you eat, the longer your snake gets. In order to complete a level, you have to be a certain length, and if you're not that length, then well, tough luck, guess you gotta go back and try again. This game is very difficult to... This game is brutally difficult, not only thanks in part to the fact that the nibbly pibblies are very hard to get, but also because of the awkward design of the levels. I mean, it's innovative, yes, but it's also very primitive. You only have 4 directions you can move in on the D-pad, but in this game, there's essentially 8 different directions that you can move in. That doesn't mean it's smooth, it's not. It's rough. On top of that, platforms are very hard to reach, oftentimes requiring very precise jumping. Also, thanks in part to the weird isometric angle that the game is played at. It's cool, but that doesn't make the game better. Honestly, if it wasn't for this weird artistic style that it has going on here, then nobody would really be talking about this game anymore. I mean, even then, I don't really think people are talking about it to begin with, but I digress. In total, there are 11 levels in the game in which you're going around eating said nibbly pibblies, and in each level they behave a different way. In some levels they'll be bouncing around or rolling, and in other levels they'll be very difficult to catch. There are also a ton of hazards in the game, a lot of which are way more agitating than they should be. This game is already hard to control, but with these hazards, it makes this game a damn near nightmare to play. Whether it be waterfalls, spikes, or the one and only Bigfoot. You better watch out for Bigfoot, he's one scary motherfucker. The best thing about this game is the music. It was composed by the same guy who did the music for Donkey Kong Country, and to be honest, it's some of his best work. I can't remember what his name is, I'll put it up here though. There are also a handful of power-ups that you can collect throughout the game. These include the clock, which adds time. Seeing as you have a limited number of time to complete each level, this one adds 25 seconds. There's the diamond, which makes you invincible. There is an extra life. It's a fucking extra life. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can get an extra continue as well, also self-explanatory. Then there's the fishtail, which helps you climb up waterfalls, though it's exclusive to only one level. There's the reverse, which reverses the controls, making it way harder than it already is. And then there's the speed up, which increases the player's speed. And then there's the tongue extension, which makes your tongue 3 times longer, which helps grab them gibblies a lot easier, bro. Final level of the game has you facing off against Bigfoot, your arch nemesis, and as I said before, you better watch out for him. But to be honest, this final boss is actually pretty easy, all things considered. I mean, by the time you make it to the final level of the game, you should probably be pretty well aware of the controls and a lot of the nonsense inside of the game, so you know, it's not too difficult, all things considered. Just Snake Rattle and Roll is a fun experimental title for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Do I think it's great? No, but I still really like it. I think it's one of those fun, as I said already, experimental titles out there. It was one of the first 3D games. I mean, that's still pretty impressive. But I think its biggest novelty in that, its strange graphical design. I think that's honestly its most appealing factor outside of the music. Other than that, the game is just really repetitive and also at the same time really agitating to play too. Like, it's unfairly difficult at times, with some jumps being very difficult to make and the enemies honestly being really annoying. But as a whole, I would definitely give Snake Rattle and Roll a 7 out of 10. I'm joking, of course. Hell no. This game gets like a 5.